I want to be like the anti-hustle of coffee.
Hmm.
Coffee, especially again in North America, like we've really made it a tool for go, 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 stay up late, work hard, study hard. It's just one more thing to keep us going instead of not going, to turn off,
Hmm.
to rest.
Yeah. All you coffee lovers are going to enjoy this episode with Jenna Goodhand. She is the owner of Cafezia, a wellness-focused coffee brand. Cafezia blends organic, fair trade coffee with health-supporting herbs, traditionally used to promote focus, immunity, and energy, with a smoother, more balanced coffee experience. But that's not all. Jenna has built two six-figure businesses across the industry of coaching, community building, public speaking, and wellness. As a mother, life lover, and a big-time empath, Jenna is driven by a mission to create meaningful initiatives while blending purpose with impact. Welcome, Jenna.
Vicky, I'm so excited to be here with you today. Thank you so much.
Yes. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I just had a Zumba class this morning that I went to, and if anyone has done Zumba or seen it, it's very high energy. So my blood is pumping. I've got a
Oh,
little bit of a glow going on, and I'm feeling great.
that's wonderful. Good for you. This is so great to be able to host you on this podcast. I know you are a busy lady, hence the Zumba. So I am grateful that you are able to take this time out of your busy schedule to join me today. We want to talk about everything Cafezia, and I am so sorry if I butcher the name. My background is French, and sometimes it creeps up when I have to pronounce English words. It's weird, but it sounds more Italian to me. Can you pronounce it for me
Yeah,
again?
it's funny. It's making me second guess the random name of my own business.
Oh,
Cafezia. So
Cafezia. Yeah, it
Cafezia.
sounds
So
Italian.
yeah,
Cafezia.
it translates to coffee for your aunt. So it's like good enough that you would give it to your aunt because we love our aunts and we want to nurture them and take care of them. I didn't come up with the name, but when I bought the business, I loved the meaning behind it and that it sort of had this, like how do you pronounce it? It's a conversation starter if you need one.
Ah. So I was going to say you have a coaching business, public speaking, community building, but how does, and I'm not going to say it, your coffee business come into play? And I'll tell you my story of my experience
I
with your
love that.
product, but first I want to hear from you. How did that all come into play?
Yeah, so I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always been very motivated to bring ideas to life that connect and create opportunities for people for their wellness or even just well-being as a community collective. And so prior to the pandemic, I know we bring this up all the time, but hey, it's a big part of our lives. Prior to the pandemic, I was coaching, I was traveling a lot with public speaking and training. I ran a co-working space, and all these things relied on people coming together. Then comes the pandemic. You can't gather, you can't travel. Everything that I did, everything that I knew how to do, I wasn't able to do. And what was interesting is right before we had these lockdowns, I'd been introduced to this product, Cafezia, this coffee that was infused with herbs that reduced the negative effects of caffeine, like the jitters, the anxiety, the heartburn. And those had been the reasons I gave up coffee. And so I had become this like super fan for this product. I loved it so much. And during the lockdown, the company was going to sell itself. And I thought, you
Mm.
know what? I can't do anything else right now. I love this product. I wonder if I could find a way to connect this to the bigger mission of my life, which is collaboration, connection, taking care of ourselves. And it really wasn't that hard of a pivot because coffee is such a connector. If we look at the history of coffee, coffee culture, all around the world, people have different rituals around coffee. And, the true sense of like a coffee break, right? Taking that moment out. And it came at this time where we did sort of have this intentional break, not for everyone, unfortunately, but for some of us. And so I loved that it was a product that was good for you and also had a deeper history with humans and connection. And I thought, you know what, this is also a time where we need more of this connection. So that's how I ended up with a coffee business as someone who knew nothing about coffee, didn't drink coffee, and then, found myself trying to navigate the world of food and beverage products.
Wow, wow, what a transition. Like, I mean, from night and day, major transition. Good for you. And not even a coffee drinker and just, yeah, I'll take that on. But what are the herbs? Like, what makes it
Yes.
special? What are the
Yes.
herbs that you have in it?
Yeah. So the really cool thing also is that it's from my hometown. So a neuroscientist, biochemist, and immunologist actually came up with this product at
Wow.
Western University in London. And he formulated the collaboration of three herbs: cleavers, hyssop or hyssop, and you can let me know how you pronounce it, and yerba mate or yerba mate. Again, different pronunciations
Yeah.
depending on where you're from. And all these herbs together, they change the rate of absorption of caffeine. So the coffee is real coffee. We roast it the same. We add the herbs after it's been roasted. And when you're brewing it, you're actually pulling out the benefits of these herbs and changing the way that your body's metabolizing the caffeine. So it's still caffeinated, but drinkers find that they don't have the jitters, the anxiety, the heartburn, which is a big one, the gut inflammation, the insomnia, but you still get the clarity and the focus from the caffeine, and you're still getting those benefits from the coffee. And we do stick to organic coffee because it's really important. Coffee is one of the most, pesticide, herbicide, sprayed chemically, products in the world. So it's
Mhm.
really important that when you're drinking coffee, you do want to find organic. You do, if you can, find coffees that have been tested for molds and things like that, because that's also something that a lot of us, I didn't know about until my customers educated me on it. So, finding coffee that's very clean, especially if it's something you drink every day, you want to make sure that you're getting the health benefits from the coffee and the herbs without adding extra chemicals and mycotoxins into your body.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're saying organic, but it's also fair trade.
It is fair trade,
Yeah.
yeah, and
So
I think
that,
it's really important, especially if you're a brand or you just, have a set of values that are beyond yourself. You think about the whole journey of everything that we're a part of, and, there's so many hands that touch a coffee bean, right? From the time the tree is planted, to taking care of that tree, to harvesting, to washing, to like, there's just so many people along the way, and especially in North America, we're so far away from where coffee is grown, and we tend to forget that. But there are communities and lives and generations of people who have devoted their whole life for us to drink a cup of coffee. And it's
mhm.
really important to me that, we have fair trade things in practice. What's great is, fair trade coffee, when you buy it, there's also a fair trade premium that goes back into those communities. So that can help with their schools, with their water, healthcare, things that they might not have access to. So yes, it adds a little bit of money to your products, but you really are doing good when you do it. And it sends a message to other companies that this is
For sure.
important to
Yeah.
customers,
Yeah.
right?
No, I was going to say how I was introduced to you. I think you came to my store, dropped off a couple of samples. They sat on the shelf. I'm like, I enjoy my coffee. I don't go out and buy coffee. I have a certain way that I make my coffee and I enjoy it. And so then I met you at a trade show and I recognized the packaging and I'm like, oh, and you were like, you got to try it. You have to try it. You have to try it. So I did. I said, okay, I have a pound of coffee. I'm going to religiously use this every day. And yeah, it's amazing. It's delicious and there's no jitters. You still have the energy. Like a lot of people want that little jolt.
Totally.
And like you get the question, well, is it like decaffeinated coffee? But you don't get, even though it's coffee beans and caffeine, you don't get the caffeine in the same way, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So the
So,
way that it was explained to me is it's not disrupting your nervous system the same
mm,
way that, coffees without herbs do. It's interesting because before Cafezia, there was other coffee companies or just other coffees trying to remedy these challenges, because more than 35% of people who drink coffee every day have the jitters, the anxiety, the heartburn, the gut upset. They can't sleep, but they drink it anyway. So this is a problem that really does plague a lot of us. And so there have been coffees before ours, and I tried all of them. I'm not going to name anyone because they're all wonderful and they're all trying to do something good, but none of them were either real coffee. So I really missed the taste of coffee, or they weren't caffeinated. So I wasn't getting the
that's
clarity or
right.
the
That's
juice.
right.
And
Yep.
so that's why I was so excited when I found this product that was real coffee. It was clean, it was fair trade, and I was going to get the benefits without the side effects. And similar, I was so, I mean, I was so excited I bought the company. Like, I just really, just was like, this is amazing, a real solution.
So the three herbs, like I've never seen anything like that. Cleavers, hyssop is how I
Yes.
say it, and yerba
Yeah.
mate,
Yeah.
yerba mate, but yerba mate gives you energy. So
Yeah.
that's what kind of throws me in the whole caffeine sort of coffee, because people will just do yerba mate for the
Yes.
energy.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because people will say that who have familiarity with it. And it's for some reason there's a property in it that also gives you that, like, I don't want to say like clean energy, like other energy is not clean, but it's
Right.
almost like it doesn't feel like you're like the anxiousness, the jitteriness. Like it's almost like you are relaxed and have energy, if that makes sense.
And I
Yeah.
think women that are feeling anxious or stressed,
Yeah.
but they can't give up their coffee because it's your adrenals. And so it's going to support your adrenals, would you say? Like without sugar and cream kind of thing. Don't put
Yeah.
sugar in it.
Yeah, I recently listened to your episode about that, about adrenal
Oh,
fatigue.
oh,
And because
well, thank you.
yeah, it's so aligned with this. And so much of what I'm trying to do with this company and also just, in my own life is come back from burnout, right? Like
Mm,
really, like we are a chronically fatigued society. And, it's very hard sometimes to even recognize that, especially if it's felt that way for so long, or some people don't even notice until they take a break and then they're just so zonked out. So, I mean, it's really important that in a world where we can control our stress as much as we want to, but there's a lot going on around us and it does affect us. And so, being more mindful of the things that you're putting in your body that help with that adrenal fatigue or, help to just keep your body calm. Yeah, yerba mate. It's interesting because it does have properties that they do relax you and they make you feel more calm and give you that clarity and focus without elevating that fight or flight, right? And
mhm, mhm.
that's what traditional coffees can do to people, which is what they do to me, which is it feels like I'm bursting in my body. Like it's like I have so much energy and I don't know how to release it, but I don't feel like I'm in control of that. It's, you
Right.
kind of get spinning and stuff like that. And
Yes.
we've had some customers who say they didn't realize it was their coffee that gave them anxiety.
Mm,
They started drinking Cafezia because they liked the herbs, they liked that it was clean and organic. But then when they ran out and they drank their coffee they drank before, they were having, panic attacks or just spiraling throughout the day or having like heart palpitations. And for them, they realized, oh, I didn't know that it was coffee that gave me that before until I went back and forth.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So the cleavers, the hyssop, like cleavers is more for hormones.
Yes, yep. It's also very good for the lymphatic system,
Hmm.
for circulation. It also has a cooling effect in the body. Now, I just want to mention, the herbs are in the coffee, but they're not in high doses. So
Hmm.
for people who might be concerned about, having the same herbs every day or something like that, it's just enough to sort of change the rate of metabolism with the caffeine and to give you a little boost, but it's healthy to continue to drink it every day. And then the hyssop, it's really good as a natural expectorant, so helping to loosen up mucus in the airway and the lungs. It's also antimicrobial,
Interesting.
antiviral, and it's the one that if there's anyone who would identify themselves as witches, I guess
Oh.
hyssop has been just like one of
It's
those.
also mentioned in the Bible, though.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So
like
King David.
okay, yeah. So it's got a
Yeah.
lot of history as a healing herb and one that's practiced within rituals and stuff. So I thought that was really cool as well. And it's very good for digestion. So not only are those herbs helping to reduce the acidity of the coffee, but they actually aid in the digestion of, if you're having breakfast at the same time or lunch or something like that.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, what do people do first thing in the morning, whether they drink water or not? Water's acidic, coffee's acidic. So, changing up your routine a little bit, add some alkalinity. So the coffee's alkalining.
Yeah, so I wouldn't go so far as to say that. It is almost 2 digits more alkaline than traditional coffee. So it
Okay.
is quite different, more aligned with like some teas that you might be drinking, like chamomile, things like that. And I mean, you listen to your body and
Yes.
how it responds to it. So typically I have my breakfast before I have my coffee. But for some people, especially if you're someone who's had coffee as your first thing your whole life,
Mhm,
this will
mhm.
feel better no matter what.
Well, and I'm thinking of, because I used to do these talks or like trade tables at the hospital here, and I would see like their lunch break or their
Yeah,
coffee break, and they're all lined up at the local coffee shop there, and they have a high stress job, like nurses and those kind of healthcare professionals. Wouldn't it be nice if they had switched it up a bit and see where it takes them,
absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, just to see where it would take them and not be anxious, like
Right. And if you think
stressed.
about it, a lot of them also have, these really swaying shift work, right? Sometimes
That
they're
too,
they're
yeah.
up at
And
unusual
it's
hours for
hard on their
themselves.
system.
And they need to go to sleep because they're going to need to sleep for the next day. So, yeah, we've got, paramedics, firefighters, lots of people who drink it because they want to be alert for their job, but they also want to be able to sleep when it's time to sleep. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see all the places this goes and all the lives that it changes. And one thing that you just said made me think of, because I was thinking of the lineup to the coffee pot, and
Yes,
just these styrofoam cups and this, unfortunately,
true.
really cheap coffee in, probably water that's not so clean. And, you know, for some reason, we don't think about the liquids in our lives the same way we might with food or with supplements and things like that. Like, I think we've gotten really good at considering where our food comes from and what's in it. But we're also, when
Our
you're adding a liquid,
beverages. Well,
yes.
and you said it too, the mold and the mycotoxins
Yes.
and like accumulation. So you
Yeah.
get, for me, I get people wanting to do candida cleanses or bladder infections or that kind of thing, but you never pinpoint it to your daily Java.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean now like they're saying tea bags with microplastics as well. So yeah, but it's hard to give those things up. It's like smoking kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
but this is a nice alternative, a very nice alternative for sure.
Thank you. I'm really glad we found each other.
Oh, now I don't know if this is happening. We didn't talk about this, but you have a cold brew. Is that still happening or?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, I've never been in food and beverage before. So sometimes my ideas are ahead of my systems
Yeah.
and understanding how does this roll out at scale. So we did a trial of our cold brew. It was amazing. It was so smooth. Like it almost
Mm,
tastes like it has something creamy in it, and it's still just the black coffee. So the product is great. I'm now figuring out how do we keep this refrigerated? How do we ship it refrigerated? So that's kind of the next thing is the logistics. But I'm really excited about it because especially I notice the younger coffee drinkers, they're into cold brew. That's kind of, we may have grown up with the hot cup and maybe at this time in our life we like the idea of like sitting and slowing down and being with our
yes. Yeah.
coffee, whereas they might be more in the, on the go kind of thing. So yeah, I love the idea of having something that's ready to go as well.
So it's talking about slowing down, and I
Mm,
listened to another podcast with you on it, and just, taking a step back. And the whole thing of coffee is community and
yes.
visiting and connecting with people, but then taking that time. And I hope people through the summer can take some steps back and yeah, and just enjoy the moment, enjoy who's around you, enjoy nature, listen to the birds singing. And I was going to say, I got up this morning and I knew we had this podcast, but what do I need to do? And my brain is racing, and I'm like, no, I went out and I cleaned the yard, and I just did different things that I don't normally do, and it's okay, and I sat, and it's
I love
okay,
that.
and you enjoy your coffee,
Yeah, I love that.
like take a step back. Nothing is pressing per
Yeah.
se. Yeah.
It comes up a lot because, I want to be like the anti-hustle of coffee.
Hmm.
Coffee, especially again in North America, like we've really made it a tool for go, 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 stay up late, work hard, study hard. It's just one more thing to keep us going instead of not going, to turn off,
Hmm.
to rest,
Yes.
right? Whereas, I was very fortunate. I did my master's degree in Europe. And so I lived there for quite some time and they didn't even have to go cups.
Yes. Yeah.
I'd go to a cafe. They don't have to
You
go
sit there and you drink. You don't walk around with
exactly.
it. Yeah, no one
If you
does
don't have
that.
15, 20 minutes to sit, you got something else to work on. So, it's interesting. I've had a lot of cycles of burnout in my life.
Mm,
And when I, was trying to pair this company with what's important to me on a personal level, I thought if I make this company about slowing down, I'm going to have to live it. I'm going to have to live the brand. I can't be burning out as someone who's trying to promote the opposite. And so, the word rituals comes back a lot to me. And it's one that I really love to talk about because, coming from the personal development world as a coach, as a public speaker, we focus so much on your habits, on, these daily things, routines, things like that. But rituals has a different element to it. Rituals have deeper meanings. It's not just about the output. It's about how we're feeling in that moment, how we're maybe turning inwards or connecting to someone else in the moment. So, when we make these rituals in our lives, whether they're daily, weekly, monthly, maybe yearly, it's an opportunity to really be present with what we're doing. And so that could be, writing a gratitude journal. It could be spending time in nature, like you mentioned. It could be, some people, they sit with their adult children or their spouse on a Sunday and they have a coffee, and that's a ritual, and they talk about certain things from the week. It could be the process you take when you make your coffee in the morning. We have lots of people who use machines that just do the whole thing, and that's okay too. But I love when someone tells me they use a French press
mm,
because you can't rush a French press. It takes at minimum 4 minutes. And at the end, if people who aren't familiar with it, you're filling a glass thing with water and the grounds. And then at the end, there's a little plunger that you press down. And that plunger has to be pressed down slowly. And that moment is just, a ritual in itself to be thankful for the coffee and the people who have helped bring this coffee to you. And, so I love trying to make as many rituals as possible in my life to bring me to those meaningful moments and reminders of why am I here? What am I
mhm.
what am I here to do? I'm not here to, just have great habits and be the ultimate human. That's one thing that's important, but at a deeper level, I have other services that I'm here to provide.
Well, life lover.
Life lover.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoying life, and we
Yes.
only get one chance at it. Yes,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have any rituals in your life?
Probably the coffee.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
coffee is my ritual. Yeah, and now that the weather's nice, we have a beautiful deck, and it's my morning to go out, listen to the birds, and that's my centering. And so
Love it.
people come to me because I started this podcast in November, and they're like, "How are you doing it all?" And like I said, this morning I had time on my hands, and I think for me, I'm a type A personality, but it's departmentalizing my life.
Hmm.
And so that's how I function better. I was able to get away this weekend with some girlfriends. And yeah, so I just make it happen, sort of thing. But I also pull myself back because
Yeah.
what I do, I'm talking to people all the time, and I need to pull myself back to gain my energy again, and
Yeah.
my focus. So yeah, yeah, to recenter myself. So yeah, turn the TV off, turn the computer off. That's probably the big time robbers.
Yeah, and it's amazing how much time they can take if you don't.
Uh-huh.
I was
Yes,
thinking of that this morning, like sometimes I'm like, I just need a break and I'll, go on social media and just scroll and time will just be gone.
that's right.
And so, I've been really in the habit of, I can't remember the author who mentioned this, but when you pick up your phone to ask yourself, like, what am I trying to get from this? Do I feel
Mm,
bored? Do I
hmm.
feel lonely? Do I feel exhausted? Do I feel
Good point.
anxious? And then what else could I do instead? Because there's
Mm-hmm.
lots of other things you can do to
Mm-hmm.
fulfill that will leave you feeling better. And it really it's hard to kind of break away once you're in in the zone of it.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of like getting you out of your reality.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I deal with a lot of people through the day, and then I come home, you're exhausted, not always, but and it's just like a mind numbing
Yeah.
activity, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't demand anything from me,
Yeah.
right? This is awesome, Jenna. We are going to look for your product, and we have a special offer for our listeners today. they get $12 off a bag when they order online. Can you explain that
Yeah.
for us?
Yeah. So, there are many wonderful stores you can buy the product at, including Vicky's store. But if that is not accessible to you at this moment, or you just want to try it with a little bit of a bonus, you can go to our website, www.cafezia.ca, or you can just look up coffee with the herbs, and Google will help you
Ah,
find it.
okay.
And you can get $12 off your first order. So no matter what you order, you'll get $12 off. You just have to enter the code at the end. Is it Talk to
Talk to
Vicky?
Vicky.
Talk
Yeah,
to
Vicky with a
Vicky.
Y.
Yes.
TalkToVicky. Talk to
Yep. And that'll
Vicky.
show up right to your door. We have light, medium, and dark roast, and all of those roasts come ground or in whole beans.
Perfect, perfect. Now I found with the whole beans when I ground them, you don't see the herbs anymore. So I like it already ground because then you can see the herbs.
Yes.
So yeah, yeah,
I love that
yeah.
you mentioned that. We've had people, email me and say, I can't see the herbs when I had the ground coffee. Do you not put them in the whole bean? So I'll just explain for listeners. So we roast the coffee the same way. When it's ground, we then mix in the herbs so you see them. With the whole bean, we actually have created a liquid out of the herbs. So after the beans have been roasted, they go through a tumbler, they get misted, and they absorb the herbs. So you won't see them. And they create a really nice, like, matte finish on the beans. I know that sounds strange if you don't deal with coffee beans, but sometimes the oily beans can create challenges with your grinder. So they actually just work a little bit
Um,
better in the grinder as well. But they're
okay.
the same herbs and they're going to give you the same benefits, whether they're ground or whole bean.
Thank you, Jenna. Any last words for our listeners? This,
Yeah, I want to say thank you, Vicky. In preparation for this, I've listened to a number of your podcasts and I really love your holistic approach to this, that it's not just about the foods you eat, but it's also the way that you live your life. And
mm,
so, just in alignment with our conversation today, I just want to encourage people to, take inventory of how you're showing up each day, and these different departments of your life and what you're giving to them. And don't be shy to reach out to people who love to help with this stuff, including Vicky.
uh, uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, thank you. Thank you, Jenna. So we will be checking out the show notes for how to get in touch with you. You're on Instagram, your Facebook,
Yep.
and your website, as well as if they want to try your coffee. It's in a lot of health food stores,
Yeah, we're in
especially in
over
London,
over
where you're from.
130 stores, I think, across Ontario. And we just partnered with a national distributor, so you'll be able to get it
Uh,
across Canada really soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa. Wow,
Yeah.
that's huge. That's huge. And I have some in my store. I don't have all of them, like the ground, non-ground, and medium, light, medium, and dark. But you can always check out your website if you use Talk to Vicky, and you'll get a $12 off on your first order. Very
Amazing.
good, Jenna.
Thank
Have a
you so much.
great day,
You
and
too.
thanks for doing this today.
Thanks, Vicky.
It was so nice to sit down and have a chat with Jenna Goodhand on this episode and learn about her adventure with Cafezia, if I'm saying that right. Jenna has so graciously offered $12 off your first purchase of this unique herb coffee with no jitters when using the code TALK to Vicky. Talk, TALK, 2TO, and Vicky with a Y, VICKY. If you're like me with special discounts, I like to stock up. So take advantage of this special and receive $12 off your first purchase of this no jitter coffee. Want to learn more and stay in touch with Cafezia? Find out what their latest and greatest is going on with them? Check out the show notes for their Instagram page, their Facebook page, and their website. As a small gesture that goes a long way, take a moment to hit the subscribe button, the like button, leave a comment, or share this episode with a friend. Every time you interact with this channel, you are helping it to grow, and it lets me know the content I'm sharing is important to you. Plus, I greatly appreciate it.